Hey everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube, or welcome back. If this is your 13th Walker episode review, these last couple weeks felt like forever. I'm being serious. It seems like Walker conveniently goes on these 2 week hiatuses just to fuck with us. And for me, in this given point in my life, 2 weeks feels like a month. So for me, the last Walker episode felt like months ago, but in reality, it was just been 2 weeks because every day feels like a freaking month or a week or something along that. Anyway, this week on Walker, this is finally the culmination, the climax of everything. This definitely felt like the season 1 finale, and I'm starting to think, was this originally meant to be the season 1 finale? As many of you all know, the Walker was originally picked up for 13 episodes, then it got renewed for season 2, as well as given 5 more episodes for season 1. I thought originally that this was going to, I thought back when we were at episode 9, I thought that was like the original season finale. They just shuffled some stuff around. That's what I was thinking. And then we got to this point. This definitely felt like this should have been the season finale now, but we're still getting 5 more episodes. So I'm assuming that they're just tacking on what I'm pretty sure was going to be the first episode of season 2 into this one. So it just feels like they're just, which is a good thing that they're throwing out everything they want to do now, even though, yeah, they're going to get another season. They're going to come back for more next fall. But in reality, I really appreciate it. I was a little bit let down by a couple things. I was surprised in certain directions they went. And given how things ended up by this episode, it definitely puts us in a new direction, not a new direction, but like an interesting direction to where things might go moving forward, as we now are in the bonus 5 of season 1, I believe I want to call them, because this episode definitely felt like the conclusion to the season 1 storyline. I think what we're going to see in the next 5 episodes is going to kind of be like an epilogue, kind of like just dealing with the characters without a conflict, hopefully, because the promo for next week definitely does paint the picture like this is just, we're in recuperation mode. Like, we're not really going to try and set up a lot of things for another conflict, but we're definitely going to try and just, continue forward with these characters and finishing up the remaining storylines that they started on season 1. So, that being said, let's go for the Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of Walker. So begin, once again, in that very weird, stupid recap montage was like, shot, cut the black, shot, cut the black. It was kind of annoying. Recapping that basic, well, again, remember, the whole, this whole scene, I've seen so many times, I'm sick of it, that I was finally happy, we're getting new stuff to look at. So after Liam got shot, Walker's in distraught. He gets his gun taken away by, oh damn, I forgot his name again. This is the problem. I remember the names and then I forget the names because we just go on hiatus for so long. Everything I forgot, everything I had in my mind is gone. So, Trevor's dad takes away the guns. The rest of the family come out in distraught that Liam is shot, presumably dead, and Trevor's dad gives no fucks about the situation. He's like, okay, let's go inside. We're gonna have a nice family meeting, and they leave Liam's body there to rot. So they all head inside, and they're all tied up, and obviously they're not wondering what's next. I mean, obviously, we have no idea what Trevor's dad's mental state is right now because we just don't know what's gonna happen next. Because the flashbacks episode for last time we were here definitely helped paint the picture of here are all this, considering there are multiple sides to a story, and then when you finally get to that point when it's like, oh yeah, now you know everyone's POV in a manner of speaking. And then when we get back to this point, it's like, okay, first of all, Trevor's dad, still a crazy man. I mean, he has no moral compass. Yeah, he lost his wife. Yeah, he was in prison for a few months. I get that. I understand that. But you killed a man's brother, and you're holding his family's hostage. There is no sort of moral dilemma here. There really isn't. But regardless, he has his own plans. He wants to make Walker suffer. So their first order of business, I forgot their first order of business. But, I remember, he wants to get the fellow inmate, his fellow crew member who was already captured by Mickey in the last episode, freed, or at least taken over to the house, so they have him back. So Walker pretends under the guise that everything's fine. That hey, bring him over here. We can interview him more, you know. But however, Mickey already processed him. He's already held in jail, so they can't really, you know, take him out of it. So first plan that Trevor's dad wanted, pretty much. I want to say his name is Larry. Actually, that seems too stupid and corny for a villain name. I don't think it was Larry. I forgot. I'm trying my best to like remember here, but I'm like I'm drawing blanks here. So there's second order of business, I believe. No, I don't think they even get to a second order of business. It was just him just saying like, "Hey, look how good your dad was, like really acting, like really faking the moment. Like, you sure you really know this man? You really sure you trust him? That sort of speak." Because like, no offense, because like the character of Walker, um, as I've noticed in the now 13 episodes I've reviewed, it is very difficult to kind of like. He's never been like a more for me, it could be Jared Padalecki's acting style, or it could just be the way he portrayed this character. You never really get the sense that he's 100% there. I think he's still figuring things out, and definitely he got a little bit better. But it is for me as someone who like really kind of hones in the vocal cues. He never really is confident in something. Like it always seems like there's something more behind it that we just don't really know. Um, But anyway, picking onwards from that, Grandpa Walker is driving back to the ranch. He sees that his the front gate is like being blocked out by one of Trevor's dad's men. Realizing the situation is kind of precarious, he grabs his gun. Somehow we just I'll appreciate the fact, but it's just like it was like a really sudden kind of like he was like traversing through the woods, and then he just suddenly cuts into the parking lot for his ranch. He sees Liam on the ground, and I was like, oh boy, this is gonna be emotional. Like we're finally gonna see Grandpa Walker cry. He doesn't. It turns out Liam's alive. Somehow, like, Liam got a bullet very close to his heart, and he's still alive. Thankfully, Grandpa Walker takes him away back to another part of the ranch. And, oh, yeah, that was the second point that I forgot to mention. So, afterwards, he asked Walker to, like, show him around the ranch, you know, to the horse stables. And he's starting to, like, see around, like, wow, Walker's got a lot to lose if anything goes south for him, so gotta be really careful on your next actions, boy. So back for Grandpa Walker. He's taking care of Liam. He's cauterizing the wound, trying to like make sure he doesn't bleed out anymore. He gives him some pills, which are very questionable pills, and even Liam, even in a very disillusioned, I'm dying state, he asks him like, "What are these pills? What do you have them?" And Grandpa Walker's like, "Don't worry about it. You know, be glad I have them." So he gives them to them, but however, before he's able to like call for reinforcements via Mickey. Again, the second time we got Mickey's call in the episode. Trevor's dad and his lackeys show up. Takes both him and Liam back to the house. So, but when they get there, everyone's relieved that oh yeah, Liam's alive, but he's like bleeding out pools here. So, he's got to like go to a hospital right now, but they have no plans to do that. So they take him away to another room. Grandpa Walker joins the family, and then now the next stage of the plan is here. Also, yeah, I forgot Hoyt's there too. He was still there in the middle of like trying to like tell off Walker on the whole Jerry thing. Obviously he's just being cheroos with Trevor's dad being the whole like, hey, I'm a former convict to a man who has done way more shit than me. So the next stage of Trevor's dad's plan is to tell Walker, you're gonna go through an exact same scenario. You're gonna rob a bank for me. You're going to go to a bank and give me this amount of money, and you're going to come back here, and then we'll leave. Just give me the money. Basically ruin your reputation for me. And again, everyone's like a bit concerned about everything, but no one's really the wiser yet because Walker, again, given his vocal cues, it's very, for them, at least in this universe, they trust him a lot. So it's like, it's not out of the ordinary for like, okay, he's fine, don't worry about it, that sort of spiel. So when they're heading off to the car so they can perform this robbery, again, rules are simple. You're going to have someone trail you. You are going to rob this bank, get my money, come back here. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So I believe, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, even after this moment, Mickey does confide in the captain, like, something's up here. Like, this is not entirely 100% okay. Like, something's off with the Walker family. So, but even with those two calls, they weren't able to like really concrete prove that like something's wrong or amiss. So back in the Walker house, Liam's still bleeding out like hell. He's in pain, and thankfully Trevor and not Trevor, August and Stella. Yeah, this is exactly why Walker should not go on these breaks. Like, I would rather you take 2 months off than do these 2 week period where like you make me forget so much. They managed to convince Trevor and his dad to let them into the room where Liam's in so they can treat him. They try their best to at least try and apply pressure, but there's still way too much blood coming out. So Stella, using the powers of her affinity for Trevor, Trevor manages to give them his cell phone so they can call Coach, Mickey's boyfriend, who was a former army medic, to provide them some clues to lead the way. Meanwhile, the dad is pressuring Grandpa and Grandma Walker about certain things, trying to get up in there, rile them up a little bit, and then he drops the bombshell. They're like, "Oh, you got these pills. These aren't ordinary pills. This is for something heavier." I think he kind of admits that yeah, Grandpa Walker does have cancer. And again, Grandpa Walker's been having cancer for like almost a year now, so he should really get that treated out, in my opinion. But this revelation doesn't come way too long because I don't know where the exterior shots definitely did in the picture of like how long this took. I know we get to nighttime eventually, but Mickey's boyfriend does instruct Stella and August to clean up the room, with alcohol, make a little incision to relieve pressure, and then basically burn the skin so you can close off the wound pretty quickly so it doesn't bleed out anymore. So despite all the pressure, they do it. But however, the dad is not happy with Trevor's, decision to give them the opportunity to potentially escape or potentially alert the cops. So he gets angry, but Liam's fine, thankfully. That's all that's important. Meanwhile, across town, Walker and Duke are trying to plan out this heist. I believe they have this moment where like they kind of mutually just get over their problems or whatever they were about to go through and just focus on the task at hand, like just getting the family back to safety, that sort of thing. And as well as they're about to perform the robbery, Trevor's dad decides to call the police, alerting them like, "Hey, there are people robbing the bank. You should go check up on them." And he says like he wants Walker to exactly go through and put him in these situations where like that will basically push him like, "Oh, I understand what he went through," which is at this point having the cops almost presuming to do a shootout with Walker and Hoyt. But when they get there, they manage to pull a little scheme so no one gets hurt. It's pretty quick. I actually give them credit. Like Hoyt's a very skilled con man and a very skilled criminal, and I can't say more right now because we're I'll get there. I'll get there in a minute. They managed to quickly get all the money. The cops are just in the vicinity. They managed to escape. And while they're escaping, I believe they say something, but I completely forgot. So they're driving back. They manage to lose the other goon, but they run into Mickey, who initially is like very pissed off at Walker. It's like, "What are you doing? Are you actually breaking your entire career just to help out your best friend?" Then he explains the truth. They're like, "Hey, no, my family's being held hostage. The guy needs the money. Please let me go right now, otherwise they're going to die, and I can't have them die." Mickey allows them to go through, tries to convince them to let her join them, but Walker's like, "No, it's almost over. Once he gets the money, he's gone, he's out, so don't worry about it." So they get there, everyone starts to convene in this parking courtyard area. Walker's about to give the money, but apparently the guy said, "Well, I didn't really care about the money. I wanted you to lose something, and since I'm assuming Liam isn't dead yet, or at least going to die, then he's got to think of another course of action and punishment." I was presuming by this point, like, yeah, he was going to force Trevor to actually shoot Walker again, trying to push him to that point. It's like, remember, this is the guy who led to your mother's death. Okay, if you want to blame anyone, blame him. And I think Trevor was considering it for a brief moment. Then Hoyt manages to get one of the secret guns in Walker's car to engage in a shootout. They all fight. I believe Stella at some point gets in the car, and again, also one of the most stupidest goons alive. And instead of trying to shoot Stella, he just takes being hit by the car, losing his gun, and letting Grandpa Walker take it so he can die. That was probably the worst freaking decision in anyone's life, and basically describes my entire COD career. So I believe from there, even after they disarm most of the people, I believe, yeah. So I remember now. So they take out everyone except the main guy, and they hear that he ran out of ammo, and they presume he doesn't have a gun anymore. So Hoyt decides to go in to corner him and take him down. However, it turns out he had a secret blade in his pocket, and he stabs Hoyt in it. And I swear to God, this could either be the most believable scene in my life or the sadly the worst acting scene in my life, where you have you get okay. First of all, you're not that alert. Like you're in a gunfight. You're like basically letting your guard down. Like your hands were down. Like your hands are supposed to be up in this moment. Like you got to be ready to fight. You let him take the shot, and instead of fighting back or trying to punch him a little bit, like try to take him down before you go down yourself, you just take it. You stumble. You go up a little staircase, and then after that you collapse. Like I'm trying to lean to that. That was kind of sadly a very bad scene. I'm sorry. Not bad scene. A very bad moment. Presumably he gets away. Trevor's dad and the entire Walker family surrounds Hoyt as he says his final words. As everyone just kind of like is in disbelief that he's about to go, and he dies. And just when you think the scene's over and the episode's kind of wrapping up, nope. Trevor's dad's still there. He's still pissed, and he says, "You now know how it feels of revenge, to have that feeling in your heart." And Walker does feel revenge in his heart. However, instead of waiting, I'm presuming episodes from now to actually get that revenge, he decides to get it right now. He grabs him by the arm, throws him over, and definitely beats him up. He beats him up to the point where, he was about to lose. And Trevor breaks the fight. He shoots a bullet in the air and has his gun once again out of Walker. This time ready to shoot, ready to protect his dad. Mickey also arrives just in the nick of time as the gunfighting was about to commence. She already called him back up. And, one side's trying to convince him, Trevor, to hey, stop, you can't do this. The other side's like, yes, do it. He's the man who killed your mother. You need to kill him right now. He's admitting it. He's admitting this is how it happened. But Walker manages to point in his head look, I did what I did for my job. I will admit that. But right now, you don't have to be me or you don't have to be your dad. You have to be yourself. Make the choice that you think is correct right now. But before he can make his own choice, Mickey shows up and presumably manages to defuse the situation to the point where Trevor's about to let down the gun. Everything seems to be over. Then we hear a gunshot. Everyone looks around to see who got shot. It turns out it was Liam who shot at Trevor's dad, who dies on the ground right away. No final speech or anything. He just dies. Marking this series very inconsistent with its death. Liam gets shot. He survives. Hoyt gets stabbed. He dies. Well, no, Liam doesn't die. And this guy gets shot by a bullet. He dies. Makes no sense in my mind. But with the conflict over, everyone starts to embrace. Trevor's crying, or in mourning that, the last piece of family he had left is now gone forever. As the police start rolling in and everyone just kind of, huddles down and at least breathes a sigh of relief that hey, everything's fine, we're all good, that sort of thing. We've all survived. Well, not everyone, but you know what I mean. The next day, Walker goes to visit Captain James and his office. Obviously, a little bit still shaken out by the events of the last night. He's still going through it. Obviously, Walker... Oh, this I forgot to mention. Throughout this entire episode, everyone's mentioning, hey, you got the hearing today. The hearing's today. You got to be there by 4 o'clock. And, of course, obviously, Walker couldn't make it because he was being held hostage. So, even with that sort of incident, they've ruled that Walker's going to receive a 2-week probation period. A 2-week suspension period. Which Walker doesn't find fair since... he should have at least gotten one more delay since he literally was in the middle of a life and death situation, which honestly, he has a point. He could not predict his past that he got involved with because of his job caught up to him and he had to deal with it. Otherwise, he was going to lose his family. So Walker did the right call here. These agency folks should have really paid more attention here and should have really taken into the specifics of this situation. Walker then describes yeah, we need to change. This department needs to change. We need to go to a new era of change. And Walker's I can't do that right now, so I'm folding in my badge for the time being. I think it's weird. I don't know how the rule is. I thought the meaning of the scene I'm done. I'm just not gonna be a ranger. And then again, the promo for the next week kind of indicates that oh, he's just gonna be gone for 2 weeks. that sort of thing. But either way, Walker's not going to be a Texas Ranger for a while. He has to learn. He has to now accept everything that happened and then move forward and maybe come back to it. But right now, he's just not. And that's where the episode ends. So for me, as the season finale approached, as this might have been the original season finale, and it does service that, like, you know, Hoyt being dead, Liam surviving this traumatic injury, kind of the end of the conflict for season 1 for now, and Walker giving up being a ranger for the time being. Definitely felt like a season finale vibe, and I'm actually surprised they actually decided to keep the story order as is instead of just stretching things out to the very end. And I'm very thankful they did that, because I have been very much of an unfan when it comes to, like, for example, the Walking Dead bonus episode they did last, was it last year, I want to say, or was it February? I forgot when that aired. The bonus episodes we got in February. Yeah. They were very disjointed. It felt like extra tack on. I was like, it's not season 11, but it's not the proper season 10 story. It's like the season 10 epilogue. Like, we're spending a little bit more time with these characters, and we didn't change the season finale just to have 5 more episodes, because had they done that, I would have very much been in shock. Like, I love the new era of The Walking Dead. I really do. I think Angela Kane's doing an amazing job. There's a point to this, by the way. However, those bonus episodes really missed at times, then hit. And I felt that hopefully Walker can learn from this. Like, so far, storyline wise, they didn't stretch anything out. They could have easily stretched the whole will they, won't they with Walker and Jerry for an additional episode. They could have dragged on some things. They could have added more, you know, unnecessary filler to the original finale. And now the way it seemed like they're going with this is that they're going to instead focus on the characters after this event and giving more time to focus on them after this very, like, you know, serious moment where, like, they could have all died. And they did it. And I want them to explore that. Like, this episode definitely put everyone through the ringer. And there's so much potential here now to take these characters next. Walker losing another important person in his life. This time, hopefully, we're going to have a much more healthier approach to grieving and a healthier approach to moving on. Grandpa Walker now have to deal with, like, yeah, at least my wife knows that I have cancer. And the kids going through the loss of an uncle. Not the actual blood uncle, but like a spiritual uncle. How does that deal? And also dealing with that up so close, especially for Stella. And I'm just very curious to see how they're going to pick things up. This episode definitely wrapped things up for the season 1 conflict, but there's still a little bit more to go for this overall storyline that I'm excited to see. Again, I found it a little stupid that Liam didn't die through a gunshot wound, but Hoyt did through a knife wound. Again, someone could have probably told me, like, there's specifics for that. There's area direction. Yeah, you could, but it's just in theory, just like it just felt very, you know, felt very off place in my opinion. So to speak. The final fight scene had definitely a couple, like, misdirections with the, well, not misdirection, missteps with the way it was paced a little bit. I will say that, but honestly, everything else was pretty great, and they definitely wrapped it up to a close for now. And we're going to see how these characters are going to move on within the next 5 episodes. So I'm going to give this episode 1 3/4 thumbs up. I still really enjoyed it. So let me know in the comments below, what did you think of this week's episode of Walker? Remember, I'm always open for conversation below. I like to talk to people about it because none of my friends watch Walker. So leave me a comment down below. I will respond. Simple as that. So I think that's going to do it for me, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's in the Tube from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the first season of Walker. If you want to know what we're doing overall, What's in the Tube besides our Walker reviews, we are doing High School Musical, the series, season 2 episode reviews each and every Saturday mornings after a brand new episode on Friday nights on Disney+. We're also doing Nancy Drew season 2 episode reviews each and every Thursday mornings after a brand new episode on Wednesday nights on the CW or for the next day on the CW app. Currently, right now, our Nancy Drew coverage is coming to an end. This coming Thursday, we will be doing our season 3 predictions video, which we'll be talking about everything about what we can expect in the upcoming 3rd season for Nancy Drew coming out this fall on the CW. And however, but if you don't care about Walker, you're in luck. We'll be back next week, Friday morning, for a brand new episode of Walker. And I swear to God, if we go on our 2-week hiatus after that one, actually, we are. They've already confirmed we're ending the season, I believe, at the end of July. Or Vic and the Flash. No, we're ending in the middle of August. So we still have a whole summer. to spend with Walker. But I'm not a big fan with the way they did things. I think this how they're airing this definitely is going to impact my score for the season 1 review when we inevitably get to that. When we get to that, I don't freaking know. This summer's crazy. Also, before I forget, our 200 episode of What's in the Tube is up. It's basically me and George talking about Gotham, the 2014 series from Fox that was the Batman prequel. Check that out. It's called The Gotham Experiments. It's not really a review per se. It's more like a discussion panel about Gotham with review elements and a lot of bullshitting around. So go check it out if you're curious about that. That is our 200th episode. Hopefully we're going to get to do another 200 more episodes of this show. What's in the Tube, not Walker. I mean, maybe Jared Padalecki might be 60 years old and might be able to play Walker. Who knows? But again, if you're unaware, this has been What's in the Tube from ActionX. Please subscribe to ActionX on youtube.com/ActionX if you have not yet. Ring that bell for a notification when our next Walker review is live, which is normally each and every Friday mornings. Like, favorite, share this review if you want to. But it helps us get out there to other members of the Walker family who has yet to discover us. Helps us beat up that YouTube acronym that hates me ever so much. And as always, sharing is for free. Follow us on social media to stay up to date with any sort of updates for the channel. And for all you members of the Walker family, I'll see y'all next week for the next episode review. But until then, stay safe out there. Be good to each other. I just remembered. No, that's for High School Musical. Never mind. I'll talk about that tomorrow. But again, stay safe out there. Be good to each other. And as always,